Hello, Taurus. This is your February 2017 reading. Okay. As you know, February, Valentine's Day will be coming up. And I know a lot of people are anxious about that. My philosophy has always just been to relax, let go. And also, I think it's important to focus on Valentine's Day that the best love you can ever have is for yourself. And once you have that, everything else will fall into place. So hopefully for these readings for February, I hope everybody finds some positivity. Look at the big picture. Don't look at the specifics, and just look beyond the big picture. Okay, as I give these readings, don't be attached to an outcome. Don't have expectations for things or to turn out a certain way or a particular message. Just focus on what the big picture is for the reading as far as love, especially for you single people. Okay. So the first card I have is a Queen of Cups. This is about love and nurturing your personal intuition. I have the Star, which is a very positive card. And once again, you see all the water. You also have this Stork, which is about a birth, a new creation, a new possibility. And then I have this Moon in reverse. Okay, so you already have a pretty strong, these are your past influences. And I would say that these are pretty strong cards because we're talking about, the Moon is usually about fears and dangers and being in danger and being afraid of what's to come. So the fact that these two cards, the Queen of Cups is what is really the opposite of the Moon. You're content, you're happy, you have that internal thermometer that keeps you emotionally balanced. You're able to give love, you're secure, and most importantly, it's about loving yourself. That's what I think of when I see the Queen of Cups. So I think it's a very good sign that in your past influences, you have this Moon, the fears and the apprehensions being reversed here after the Star. I think that's very meaningful. Okay. All right. So moving on to your present energy. I have a Queen of Wands reversed. I think it's interesting whenever I have cards that mirror. We have a Queen of Cups here, but then we have a Queen of Wands in reverse. And this could be about someone else's energy. When a Queen of Wands is reversed, it's about being controlling and having a short temper, lack of focus, lack of discipline. Okay. So I think that's interesting, especially with this Moon in reverse, that there might still be some fears creeping up or that you're still dealing with here. I have a Two of Cups in reverse. And as you know, this is about that emotional commitment. It could even mean marriage, a partnership, a strong partnership. So yeah, there are a number of things that are still not coming together, especially if you are single and waiting for love. Now, here's what's interesting. I have another Two. And remember, the Two is always about balance, harmony, unity. Okay, two forces and the way they work together. So this Two of Pentacles is more material and physical. And sometimes in a love reading, I see this as someone who's between two relationships, someone who's not really committed. They're focused on the material aspects of a relationship because the water is behind this young boy. And you have this card of infinity as well, which is about an energy that never stops. There's no beginning, there's no ending. It's just perpetual motion here. This balance. We are always in the situation of finding balance in our lives. But you can see that it's about keeping these two pentacles perfectly balanced, keeping them up in the air, not letting either one of them drop. And you're so focused on juggling these two pentacles, you're not paying attention to anything else. So I think that is also a very interesting thing. It could also mean someone's not emotionally committed, but they might be physically committed, that there's no love so much. Love has not matured, but it could be just a physical relationship between two people. And that's also another interpretation, especially whenever I see pentacles. Pentacles are about the material world, and it's also about the physical. And so when you look at a relationship reading and I get a bunch of pentacles, not just one, I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of emotions here, but I am seeing a lot of physical and material things. Maybe you're still dating. Maybe you haven't gotten to that point where there's emotions. People haven't fallen in love yet. But it definitely tells me that someone's handling more than one thing. And so if there's some of you asking about a commitment, someone's commitment to you, when I see this card, it's always like, well, I think this person is still keeping other options open, or there might be another relationship. They're not committed to you. They're still, dating around. They're still playing the field. That's definitely another interpretation that I see depending on the circumstances, especially when I see this Two of Pentacles next to a Two of Cups reversed. Now, going into your future influences, I have a Knight of Swords, which is about acting on communication, acting on finding the truth. And then I have the Eight of Cups here, which is about letting go emotionally, walking away, finding yourself, looking, not just finding yourself, but trying to move forward emotionally to a new beginning, detaching. And then I have this Nine of Wands reversed. Okay, so the strongest energy seems to be the Cups, and the story the Cups are telling with this Queen of Cups, who's emotionally loving and giving and nurturing. And then all of a sudden I start to see a Two of Cups reversed, that this queen is alone. She's not getting, the other person in a relationship is not being as nurturing. And then I get an Eight of Cups, which is about someone needing to just take some space. Okay. So I think that's interesting, the way your cups are telling me what someone's emotional vibe is and what the situation is. That right now, alone in love, I see this queen alone, and I see someone who is not connected to the queen. She doesn't have a partner yet to share or exchange the cups. But then I see with this Eight of Cups just heading toward a better future. And here's something else I want to point out here. This star, note how the star has these 8 stars here, right? She's before the 8 stars. Her emotions are balanced. She's positive. Okay, it's about having hope for the future and nurturing those hopes and dreams. Here in the Eight of Cups, those stars are a little bit far off now, but it still doesn't mean that there's not a positive outcome, that there's not a positive future. And you see the moon here in the background. Now, look at this. The moon is reversed here, but you still have the moon. The moon is behind her, okay? But she is still holding that wand, that torch, like she's very worried about what's going on here. And she's wearing the cape. And I'd like to feel that this woman who is dealing with maybe fears or putting fears behind her is now making an effort to turn around towards the moon, towards the stars, and make a better future for herself. So I like the way the star and the moon here in your past influences sort of come together here in your future, because this is about doing what you need to do emotionally. And even if this is about someone who might take some space, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you're walking away, you're taking a new journey to something better. That's how I like to see the Eight of Cups. I know a lot of you don't like to see it because it means someone letting go, leaving something behind, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because there's always something better. And so when we have this Nine of Wands here, remember this Nine of Wands, you see this young woman defensive because of what happened in the past. The wands are behind her, and she's preparing to tackle an obstacle or a challenge. Now this is reversed, and this is very important, because sometimes it doesn't help to be defensive. Sometimes it doesn't help to be fearful that something might happen again, or being alone again on our own. So when I see this reverse, I'm thinking there's no need to, this situation might have you a little frightened that maybe there was a breakup in the past and you're afraid it might happen again. And when this is in reverse, it could mean that maybe you're too focused on what's happened in the past. And in the future, when this is in the future, it could also mean a lesson that you were supposed to learn, some information that you should have paid attention to, that actually might come back again, that you might be aware of, like, okay, this happened again, next time I'm going to learn from it. So when this Nine of Wands shows up in your future, just be aware that it's sort of like the tarot saying to you, we're acting on understanding and getting clarity. We're moving towards that. This is about emotional healing and distance and taking space, walking away from a situation that might be painful. But also when you see this Nine of Wands reversed, it means that maybe you're still going to be in the process of understanding. Okay. How can I say it? Usually this is about persevering and just being vigilant, okay? Looking for those flags that something might hurt you, or that you might be in danger, or something might go wrong again. So when this is in reverse, just be prepared that this might end up being a struggle. Someone leaving or you leaving, this might be more of a struggle or a battle that you didn't anticipate, okay? And you just need to be prepared for that. Stand your ground and don't give up, okay? Now, I'm going to shuffle for an outcome card. And the Knight of Swords, by the way, could actually represent a particular person that you're connected to, as well as this Queen of Wands and this Queen of Cups. But with all these energies, especially seeing that the court cards are right under each other, I'm just looking at this control, this insecurity here from this love and nurturing that I'm seeing. And then I'm getting into sort of like what could be sort of like a conversation or a confrontation that happens. Okay, because swords are about communication, they're also about thinking and making decisions. So it could very well be that this isn't so much about a person, but it's about their behavior or a decision that someone's going to make that's going to be influenced by this Eight of Cups. And whatever happens here, it might lead to a bigger conflict that you just need to be prepared for. Okay, so the outcome card is an Ace of Wands. And this is always about a new beginning, creativity, starting a new life, starting a new adventure. And it means that things are not going to be able to move forward just yet. Okay? And sometimes it can mean depression, feeling lack of motivation, because wands are fire. So what does this mean for those of you who are, as far as a relationship, what does this mean? It simply means delays. It can mean promises that don't come true just yet. Indecision, okay? Because this fire is a very powerful element. And whenever you're motivated by power, you're just ready to go. You're ready to move. And you see this butterfly that has come from the cocoon, which is always about transformation. So when it's reversed, it's the tarot saying to you about your situation in love, saying that things are going to be delayed, that the promise of new love might not come just yet in the next few weeks. But that doesn't mean it's still not going to happen. Okay? I'm choosing to see this more of a delay because of this struggle that I'm seeing here with the Nine of Wands. Not necessarily that love or relationship is not going to move forward. But for your reading, Taurus, there's definitely a struggle here. There's some issues and commitment issues that I think need to be addressed, whether it's with someone else or whether it's with you. Maybe you're too busy for love if you're single. Maybe you're too emotionally detached. But whatever the case is, this is all leading up to an important struggle or an obstacle that you'll need to get through. And this might delay things a little bit. There might be an obstacle in the way of a relationship. But it doesn't mean you're not going to get past it. This is just the tarot saying to you, just be prepared for a little bit of a struggle or a conflict that you're going to have to resolve. But it doesn't mean that things are not going to move forward. And it could also be because this Queen of Wands, all the wands here are reversed. It could be a particular person who's holding things up, who is avoiding love, who's avoiding the important decisions or conversations that need to happen, that they don't have that focus and commitment just yet to the relationship. Okay? So yeah, I'm looking at all the cups together and all the wands together, and the cups could be your side of the story, the wands could be the other part of the story, but it still means that there's a struggle between the fire and the water that needs to come together. And maybe this Knight of Swords represent air. Air nurtures fire, but air is not necessarily an enemy of water either. Air is sort of like it moves everywhere. It's about the thinking and intelligence and discussion and making decisions. So this is an important energy that I think in the future is going to help you or you and another person get past this obstacle or roadblock that might be coming up in the next few weeks. Okay, so Taurus, that was your reading. And you might want to check out my appointment book, my online appointment book, because now I do have a $15 special for the month. It's a relationship reading. And I know some of you might be concerned about your energy of another person, what's happening. And then I also know that there are plenty of you who are single who are wondering, what will my love life look like in the next few weeks? Where am I in this journey to love? So, I am now offering for February $15 relationship energy readings. And they can be very insightful. It'll help you get the big picture of what's going on. And it's on a video, just like my regular videos. So you might want to check it out. It's a completely different spread than I do here. And it's a little bit more focused about you and if you have a relationship with another person or if there's a person of interest, it's a little bit more focused on that. Okay? So thank you so much, and I hope that your February is getting off to a great start, and I hope to talk to you soon.